Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Coffee with Craig, where we talk about all things firearms, firearms policy, politics, culture, media, you name it. We're talking about it right here on Coffee with Craig. So please take a moment, like and share the program so that your friends can know where the conversation is taking place. Also, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, and in both cases, hit the notification button. That way, you will be alerted as soon as we go live, and you can participate in the live chat while the program is going on. Also, visit fpcgear.com. That's fpcgear.com. It is the place to go to find all sorts of Pro 2A swag. T-shirts, coffee mugs, hoodies, stickers, you name it. All of it is the stuff to get. And the primary reason why is because every dollar that you spend goes right back into the fight for our right to keep and bear arms. So you can support the Second Amendment and you can look good doing it. That's fpcgear.com. All right, you guys are probably aware that most of the internet giants have taken a negative position when it comes to firearms and when it comes to the Second Amendment and allowing people to actually express their views and their values when it comes to the Second Amendment. In fact, we have found that when it comes to the Second Amendment, other rights become suspect. In this case, the First Amendment. Well, Instagram, who also partners with Facebook or is part of Facebook, has taken a new position. Now, they've always been against guns or against advertising guns. But one of the things that now Instagram is doing is they're not allowing for influencers to do posts or basically they're not allowing influencers to promote firearms or firearms related products. Right. It's a new policy that's actually just coming out over there. And here's a brief little segment, on it.
Instagram and Facebook are banning influencers from promoting guns, vaping, and tobacco. Facebook announced yesterday that it will start enforcing the ban in the coming weeks. The products have already been prohibited from Facebook and Instagram's advertising approach for a while.
So what they've done is they basically said, okay, well, we're going to include it with tobacco. We're going to include it with vaping. No, you are not allowed to even do branded content at all whatsoever. Now, this is going to affect one, people's ability to be able to market, once again, a legal product, one that is in fact use of which is protected by the Constitution. And in fact, it's specifically enumerated in the Constitution. But we all know that they don't care about that. But that's not what gets me. Here's what this one is actually about, and that is about the response from those who would seek to take away our fundamental right to keep and bear arms, the gun control community and their response to this particular policy. Now, you guys all know this lady, Sharon Watts. She is the founder of Moms Demand Action. So here's what she had to say about their policy. I'm grateful to Facebook and Instagram for taking this common sense step to encourage safety on its platform. And I am hopeful that this step in the right direction is a sign of more meaningful policies to come. That's once again from Shannon Watts. But what does she mean by more policies, right? What does she mean by that? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Facebook has a responsibility to prevent its platforms from being used to mislead the public about public safety issues like gun safety. I wonder what she means by mislead. And while the company has made some good progress, its record is mixed at best. So exactly, what does she mean by this? What she means is this, is that any information that does not promote the stereotype that guns are evil, guns are bad, that the number one worst thing in the entire country is the right to keep and bear arms, well, that's all evil and bad. She wants to make sure that things like this program aren't allowed to be put out there on social media because, well, we promote a narrative that's not consistent with hers. Because our position is that the right to keep and bear arms is a fundamental right. That we also, though, contradict the misinformation that they put out. right? We've already talked about the statistics that they put out, which are in fact lies. We already talked about the ignorance that they put out when it comes to the policy, which we know are in fact lies. But as long as there is someone out there on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, as long as there are individuals out there who are contradicting their narrative, their lies, they want to shut us up. And they're enlisting those who control the public square to, in fact, participate in that, for lack of a better term, silencing or, shutting us up. So then you also had, and once again, she's not the only one, you also had the folks from Students Demand Action, right? So now here's what they had to say about this particular thing. This is from Juliana Carrasco. She's a National Advisory Board member to Students Demand Action. My generation doesn't just use Instagram to post selfies or share memes. Instagram and other social media platforms have become an essential organizing tool for young activists. Now, here's what they want. They want it to use for them to be able to organize. But do they want all people to be able to organize? I would say no. What do I base that on? This statement. It's good that Facebook and Instagram have taken this step, but the companies owe its users more than this, she added. Social media platforms have a responsibility to make sure that they aren't used to spread hate and lies, especially when it comes to gun violence, which claim 100 American lives each day. Facebook is currently not fulfilling that responsibility. So in other words, she believes that Facebook is not fulfilling that responsibility because they haven't shut us up. They haven't shut me up. I'm still here. I'm still contradicting the lies that they are putting out there. Because, once again, and I'll just be real with you, if you want to talk about hate, I could literally run just back to back for several hours the hateful things that people have said about those who advocate for the right to keep and bear arms. We've been called despicable. We've been told that our mouths need to be washed out with soap. We've been called baby killers. Yes, they've called us that because we contradict the misinformation that they put out there. Now, folks, let's just be real. The First Amendment, right, is about the right to all speech. And this is what I'll say, I've always said this about civil rights. Civil rights are dangerous because they protect the rights of the individuals. And the thing is, we protect the rights of the individual, understanding and knowing that some people are going to abuse that right. We know that. We already know that some people are going to abuse it. But guess what? When people do, we have laws in place that will address when someone abuses those rights. And now what they want to do is they want to silence us because we would advocate for the right to keep and bear arms. And because we're effective in advocating for that fundamental right. Those who don't believe in that fundamental right want to shut us up. And they want to use the public square to do it. And just so you know, social media is now the new public square. That is where people get together. That is where people organize. That is where people get their information. It is the new public square. And let me just say something to those of you who run these platforms. Know that if you misuse your authority to silence people with whom you disagree, know that you eventually will lose. Because I think while there are definitely those in many states and those in at least one house of our current national legislature who basically will seek to utilize you to subvert our rights, the judiciary is a changing. And the judiciary, in the judiciary, one of the things, though, that's also very important is there are a few things that are more protected than the First Amendment, right? There are very few things that are more protected than the First Amendment. And I will promise you, keep it up, and you will start to see your control of of the public square will start to dwindle. And will start to come under, you'll start to lose control. You will start to lose control of that public square. Because folks, and this is, I get it, you guys, yeah, it's important that we develop our own. Let me just say that. It's important that we work to develop our own social media, our own ways of communicating with one another, so that in mass, such that we are not limited to the constraints of people like Instagram and Facebook and Google. But here's the ultimate thing, folks. It's important for us. It's funny. I like referring to the movie The Matrix. Even if we get unplugged from the Matrix, it's still incumbent upon us to go into the Matrix, to communicate with people and bring people out, right? Those of you who watch The Matrix, you know what I'm talking about. Those of you who don't worry about it. But the point is, it's still important for us to communicate to those who are on Instagram, who are on Facebook, who are on YouTube, because there are many people who agree with us who haven't heard what we have to say, or have heard our message and don't know how to get in contact with us, or have heard our message in a way that's been less than effective, but are receptive to what it is that we have to say. It's important that we engage them, and it's important that we engage them where they are. We have to go where they are. If we're going to bring them into the reality of what is really going on, we need to engage them where they are. And that's why it's important that we remain engaged on Instagram, on YouTube, on Google, on Facebook, on Twitter. You name it, we need to be there. Because if we're not there, then all that's left are the lies of the mainstream media, the lies of the anti-gunners, the lies of those people who want to take away our fundamental rights. Folks, we can't allow that to happen. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's Coffee with Craig. We very much appreciate you guys tuning in. We appreciate you guys liking and sharing the program, telling your friends about the Firearms Policy Coalition and about Morning Coffee with Craig. We are the home in the fight for civil rights. Got to use them or you're going to lose them. You guys take care.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.